want to get into the action items that we are talking about today because I want to help you with your podcast and with your content. So tell me a little bit about, I have, our questionnaire that we pulled up about what we filled out before we started talking. And one of the ways that you would love some coaching is ways to market your podcast and some website and SEO. So tell me a little bit about either where you're stuck or where you could use some help.
The first one, to better market my podcast and my content, I'm not as big on social media as a lot of people, so I would love some new ideas and ways to kind of change it up or switch it up, because I am not a one-way type of doing thing person. I am open to new things that work, and I don't mind, diving out and trying things. And the other one is the website and the SEO, because as you mentioned earlier, I do the live streams with you every week and you always talk about it. And I know that it makes a big difference. So I kind of want to make sure that I'm on the right track with it, or maybe if I need to adjust some things.
Okay. Yeah, these are great. So the first one, when it comes to social media, I mean, there's just so many different ways that you can do social media. Like you said, there's not one way that you approach it that's the quote right way to do it, even though there's experts out there that will say you have to do it this way in order to be successful, or you have to do it this way. I think that it really all comes down to pulling out the pieces of your personality that your audience is going to resonate with most. And so for you specifically, I know that you kind of hit on all these different, I guess, facets of your audience, because it's not like it's necessarily all going to be the same person, because somebody's going to be, dating, somebody's going to be engaged, somebody's going to be married, and those are very distinctive members of your audience. But what I would do to make it a little bit easier on yourself is maybe come up with themes. So for Mondays, we're going to talk to those of you in the dating world. And Wednesdays, we're going to talk to those of you that are recently engaged and you're planning your wedding and you're in this honeymoon phase of your relationship. And then on Fridays, we'll cover those of you that have been married for a while, and ways to, whether you have an expert on the show or you have someone, just making it easier for you, especially for people that feel like social media is just really weighs them down, or it slows them down, or it's overwhelming. I always try to think of ways that you can make it fun. And because I do already know that you're creating content on a regular basis now, I would recommend trying some things out, whether it's sharing audio clips or putting quotes up from your episodes, or, is any of this really resonating with you, or is anything else standing out from what I just said?
No, all of this definitely resonates with me. And I'm loving the theme days. I have not tried that, because it is a little, I don't want to use difficult, but because my audience is so big, I don't ever want to seem like, because I'm married, I'm focusing on talking to people that are married, or I'm just focusing on those that are dating. I kind of want those people in their area to feel important, as if I'm talking specifically to them on this day, and maybe, as you said, hitting the others on the other days.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a way that you can kind of, it's also the progression, right? It's you're in these seasons of life. It's maybe 1 is dating, 2 is engaged, 3 is married. And the way that if I were a consumer of your content, looking at what you do, I'm like, okay, well, I know that maybe Monday's topic might not be for me, but I'm going to make sure and check out what Monique has on Fridays, because I know that's always for the married couples. And maybe it's relationship tips. Maybe it's, something that's actionable. And what's cool about what you do is there's always seasons of the year that you could follow. I mean, obviously we just had Valentine's Day, and everybody has their own emotions about what Valentine's Day, whether it's fun, it's sexy, it's lovable, there's so many different ways that you can approach it. So I would almost look at the things that are coming up on the calendar. For me personally, when we're recording this, I'm already thinking about, we have spring break coming up, and then we have Mother's Day, and we have summertime. So if you could even throw in some of those themes of, okay, here's how you can celebrate your spouse if she's a mother on Mother's Day. And here's how you can support, your partner if y'all are dating or you're freshly dating and it's Mother's Day. Like, so just kind of tying in things that are already naturally happening that people would want to be thinking about and they're consuming already on social, and trying to tie it all back to your podcast. Now, this is where people usually get overwhelmed, like, oh, so I got to do all this planning and all these things. And I'm like, no, it doesn't mean you have to create a podcast episode just for Mother's Day, but you can say, hey, here are some tips that you put out on social. And then you tease them and say, and if you want to know more, come listen to the podcast. It's where we really get into more of the advice and the relationship and